Hello guys, my name is Lazaro and today we're going to be going over an easy LeetCode problem. This problem called min stack. Design a stack that supports push, pop, top, and retrieving the minimum element in constant time. So let's keep that in mind. They want us to retrieve the minimum element within the stack at constant time, big O of 1. So push of x, this is be a method inside of this class, is going to push elements x, which is be an argument for this method, onto the stack. Pop just removes the element on top of the stack. Top gets the top element, so the element at the end of the stack, or at the top of the stack. And then get min retrieves the minimum element in the stack. And they want this is the method they want in constant time. So let's look at that example. Right here they're creating the object, then they're pushing to that min stack object, they're pushing a number, the number is -2, and then they're going to push, they're pushing 0, they push one more time, they're pushing -3, and then they want us to get the minimum from that. Of course, currently in our stack we have -2, 0, and then -3, so the minimum is -3. Then they're going to pop. So by popping, they remove the element at the top of the stack, which in this case is -3. So that gets removed, and now we're only left with -2 and 0 in our stack. Now they call top, so they want to know which number is on top of the stack currently. Since we removed -3 with this pop right here, the top is going to be 0. And then they call get min. And then with get min, it's the minimum between this, because this is our whole stack, which of course the minimum is -2, so we return -2. This is the output. We don't really have to worry about this because, as you can see right here, your min stack object will be instantiated and called as such. They're basically going to be taking care of this. We don't have to do any output. What we do have to take care of is the logic and function of each of these methods. So let's see how they want us to solve this. So the first thing is the constructor. Right here, let me actually go back to it. This is Python. So this is the constructor right here. The constructor basically gets called as soon as you create the objects. So in this line, they're creating the object, and they're assigning it to the obj variable. Right here, they're creating it, and since this is the constructor in Python, this is what runs as soon as they create it. It might look for other languages, like right here. In Java, it has the exact same name as the class. So this is going to run first. C++, kind of the same thing as Java. And then JavaScript, JavaScript, it looks a little bit different, but I bet it's somewhere in here. Yeah, right here. I believe it's down right there. But each and every single function has their own constructor. You see Golang just has a function called constructor inside the struct. And that's basically what runs first as soon as that class is created. So what do we want to do inside that constructor? Inside of here, we want to keep track of two things. Since we know we're going to be using a stack, we want to create an array. So inside the constructor, let's instantiate an array. Let's call this stack. Let's make it equal to our array. So now we created our array, but something else that we want to keep track of is the minimum number within our stack. Since we know that our get min function, our get min method, we know that's going to be constant time. So we need to keep track of the minimum number somewhere else. So inside that method, we don't have to loop over our stack. So let's keep track of that minimum number in a constructor. Let's call it min. And right now, since we're going to be comparing this number to every number we add to the stack, let's just make this number as big as possible. So let's just call it infinite. And let me just draw the infinity sign actually. So this is first set equal to infinity, a very large number. And you see why soon. Now in our push is we taking an argument, is we taking x. And this x is the number we want to push to our stack. But we also want to see if this current x is smaller than the minimum we've seen so far. We can do that with a simple if block. So if x is less than min, just set minimum equal to x. Here, let's say x is 3. Is 3 less than infinity? It is. So now our min gets set from infinity to 3. And that's why we had the infinity, to make it as big as possible. So no matter what number we add to push, no matter what number this x represents, it's always going to be less than infinity. Perfect. So something else we want to do inside this push is actually add x to our stack. And we can just append it using stack dot append x. Now this is a method that comes with arrays in Python. In other languages it might be called push, it might be called push, or it might be called add. It differs. But the whole logic is that we want to add to this array x. And that's how we do it. So that's our push. Our push compares if x is so far the smallest number we have in our stack. If it is, it's going to set min equal to that x. And then push is also going to add x to our array. So now let's look at pop. Pop is going to get rid of the top element, or the number that's on top of the stack. So all we really have to do is just call stack.pop and remove, with this we remove the top number. So let's say our array was filled with 1, 4, 3, 7, -2, 5. Our pop, if we were to call dot pop on this, that would return 1, 4, 3, 7, -2. We got rid of this 5. But there's something else with pop. Let's say instead of having 5 at the end, we had -7. With this stack, this means that our minimum was -7. And since we're calling pop on it, that means that we lost that -7, and now we have to recompute our min. So here in this pop method, we want to check something else. We want to check that if stack, so if our stack still has numbers in it, let's set min equal to the minimum number in stack. Else, if stack only had one number, and we call dot pop on that, and now we only have an empty stack, let's just set min equal to infinity again. And the reason we're doing this is, I should have probably mentioned this in the beginning, but here in the bottom it has a constraint. Methods pop, top, get min, and get min operations will never be called on non-empty stacks. So we know that we're never going to return infinity because get min is never going to be called on an empty stack. It's only going to be called on a stack that actually has numbers. So that's something less that we have to test for or be careful with. So that's our pop. We're removing the number at the top of the stack. And then we're checking that if our stack still has numbers, let's recompute the minimum. Here, let me, just in case someone gets confused and they think we're calling a variable, let me just do math.min stack. There we go. So if a stack still has numbers, let's recompute the minimum inside the stack. If a stack is empty, then minimum is set to infinity. And we're assuming, because of that constraint, that we're eventually going to add another number, x. And then from there, since min got set to infinity, then that number will be less than infinity for sure. And that's where we set our min equal to x. So that's pop. Now let's create top. Top just wants to get the number at the end of the stack. So instead of actually removing it like we have up here, what top will do, if we have only one, if we call top on this, we will just return 1. Or if we have something like 1, 3, 7, and 5, would return 5, the number at the end of the stack. Perfect, so let me just erase this. So here, what we want to do is just get the length of the stack. Then do -1, because if we have a stack like 1, 2, and 3, 7, the length of this is 4, but the index only goes up to 3. So we're going to do 4 minus 1, which will be 3, and that will make us within the bounds of the length of the stack. And then once we have end, what we want to return is stack at that index, at index end. And that will give us or return the number at the end of the stack. Now finally we have get min. Since we were keeping track this whole time of the minimum value in our constructor, we created that variable. Let's just return that variable. And that's it. This is actually all we have to do to create a min stack class. So now let's write the code. Whoops. Okay. There we go. Let me move this over here. Perfect. So this is a constructor. Let's create stack. I'm using self.stack. So in these other methods, it can access this variable. So that's going to be set equal to an empty array initially. And then let's also create min, which is going to be equal to infinity. And in Python, we just do float with float of a string called inf. Now for pushing, we first have to check if x is less than min. If that's the case, then let's just set minimum to that x. And then finally, let's also add x to our stack by appending. Now in pop, we want to call stack.pop, and if we still have numbers in our stack, we want to recompute our min. So if our stack still has numbers, let's recompute our min and set it equal to the minimum number within the array. Else, if it's an empty stack, then self.min is just to be equal to infinity. Now for top, let's just get the last index of our array. Then -1 that. But first we do need to get the length of this. So we do it like that. So now we took the length of the stack of the array, and then we subtracted 1 to get the last index. Now let's just return the number at that last index. And then of course, for getMin, our final method, since we're keeping track of the minimum the whole time, let's just return that with self.min. So let's run this code. Let's see if this works. It works here. Now let's submit it. And it works here as well. Perfect. So if you guys enjoyed this, then please join our Discord channel, which will be linked in the description. We send out beginner and advanced problems every single day. And we also post video solutions, just like this one you're watching, on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, to go over or to explain the intuition and logic behind solving the problem. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, then leave a like and subscribe. But yeah, have a good day, guys.